Hey everyone, Timona here from foxreviews.info and welcome to this week's edition of the weekly Forex Eloquent Review. This edition this week is for the 8th to the 12th of October. And in a few moments, what I'll be doing is highlighting a number of important trading areas in the market. However, before I get into this week's review, I first off would like to mention how much I appreciate you all. I appreciate the community as a whole around Forex Reviews. And if you do appreciate this video this week, please do not forget to click the like button. If you have a comment below this video. And also consider subscribing if you haven't subscribed yet. On YouTube, you can subscribe to video updates. However, make sure to click the bell just to ensure to get all updates from me on YouTube. And you can also subscribe to email updates at www.forexreviews.info. Anyway, let's get into this week's edition of the review and see what's happening on the charts. Okay, the first pair I like to highlight is USD, and I'm on the daily chart. USD hit that long-term target that I mentioned last week in the review for all those people holding a sell trade from the 117.32 zone area. So overall, a great performer for all those people that took a sell trade from the 117.32 zone area. And at the moment, USD is testing deep in the 115.50 zone area. My bias hasn't changed on this market. What I want to highlight on this market this week is that for all those people not in a buy trade on this market already, that this is a great area on this market to look for a potential bullish opportunity in this area this week and a potential move the upside. Potentially move all the way up to the 117.32 zone area to the upside. So overall on USD, highlighting that where price action is testing right now, even though it tested deep within the 115.50 zone area, price action is still connected to that low area, looking left. And so highlighting that my bias hasn't changed and that this is an area on this market, a great area on this market to look for a potential bullish opportunity in this area this week and a potential move the upside from this important zone. Okay, well that's it for that market. Okay, the next pair I highlight is US dollar Swiss, and I'm on the daily chart. Last week in price action, this market's price broke above and closed above the 98.30 zone area. And now the market's done this, what I'd like to highlight is that if price pulls back, so if price declines to the downside and tests the 98.30 zone area this week or in the near future, that this is an area on this market where I'm just looking for bullish evidence in this area. And if I see a rise bullish evidence in this area, then potentially looking for a move all the way up to the pullback high if the market pulls back from this area, or potentially looking for a move all the way up to the $1.33 zone area to the upside, which is this previous high area, looking left back here. Okay, so overall on US dollar Swiss, holding that if price pulls back and tests the 98.30 zone area, that this is an area on this market where I'm just looking for bullish evidence in this area and a potential move the upside from this important zone. Okay, well that's it for that market. Okay, next pillar to is GBUSD, and I'm on the daily chart. Last week in the review on GBUSD, I had the 130.50 zone area as a potential bullish evidence area on this market. And as you can see, when price action came to this zone, price tested deeply in this area. And then it looked like in this candle that price was going to continue to the downside. However, it ended up being a false breakout to the downside, as in the next candle, the bulls took control, pushing price strongly to the upside and holding this important zone. What I like to on this market this week is that I'm expecting more potential continuation in price to the upside, all the way up to at least this high area, or all the way up to the 132.86 zone area. So for all those people that are holding a buy trade on this market, potentially the 132.86 zone area is a great long-term target area to the upside, and this high area is a great management point area to the upside as well. And also want to highlight the 132.86 zone area as not only a great target area to the upside, great long-term target area to the upside for all those people holding a buy trade on this market, but also want to highlight this is an area on this market where I'm just looking for bearish evidence in this area. And if I see right bearish evidence in this area, like I go over in the Forex training, they're potentially looking for a move all the way down, all the way back down to the 130.50 zone area to the downside. Now, for all those people who are not in a buy trade on this market, potentially what you could be doing is waiting to see if price will pull back and retest the 130.50 zone area this week. And if it does, this would still be a great area on this market to consider a bullish opportunity in this area and look for a potential move to the upside from this important zone. Okay, well that's it for that market. Okay, the next pair to hold is AUSD, and I'm on the daily chart. Last week in price action, AUSD unfortunately broke below and closed below the 71.63 low area, which was an area that I held last week in the review on this market. And now that price has done this, price has broken below and closed below this area, what I'd like to highlight is two important areas. The first area I'd like to highlight is the 70-20 zone area, where potentially price will continue down to this week. This is an area on this market, bearing in mind that it is a counter zone area on this market, people, where I'm just looking for bullish evidence in this area. And if I see that Rod's bullish evidence in this area, then potentially looking for a move all the way up to the 71.63 zone area. Now, while this is a counter zone area on this market, this is a significant area as it's a 10-digit round number on this market. So I'm expecting that the bulls will try to defend this zone. It's a psychological number on this market. However, of course, it depends on the evidence and how it forms in this important area. The other zone I'd like to highlight is the 71.63 zone area, which is this low area looking left. Now, it is quite a big low area, okay, but I will zoom out in a moment just to show you that in a bit more detail. This is an area on this market to the upside that if price pulls back and tests this area, this is an area on this market where I'm just looking for bearish evidence in this area. And if I see Rod's bearish evidence in this area, so it's an if-then process, they're potentially looking for a move all the way down to the 70-20 zone area to the downside. Okay, so overall on AUSD, on the 70-20 zone area as a potential bullish evidence area on this market, and holding the 71.63 zone area as a potential bearish evidence area on this market as well. And if I zoom out, you can see the 71.63 zone area is a significant low area looking left back here. Okay, that's it for AUSD. The next pair to cover is New Zealand USD, and I'm on the 4-hour chart. New Zealand USD was a great performer last week, with price continuing to decline to the downside for all those people that are holding a sell trade from the recent test of the 66.94 zone area, declining all the way down to the 65 zone area, which was an area that I held last week in the review as a potential long-term target area to the downside for all those people that are holding a sell trade from the 66.94 zone area. Unfortunately, when price came into the 65 zone area, which was an area that I held last week in the review as a potential bullish evidence area, the bulls did not hold the zone and price continued to decline to the downside, closing all the way down at this price point. And so my bias on this market, now the market has done this, now the market has broken below and closed below the 65 zone area, is if price pulls back and tests the 65 zone area, that this is now an area on this market where I'm just looking for bearish evidence in this area. And if I see right bearish evidence in this area, then potentially looking for a move all the way down to the pullback low if the price pulls back from this area as a potential management point area to the downside, or potentially looking for a move all the way down long term to the 62.64 zone area to the downside. So overall on this market, holding that this market was a great performer for all these people holding a sell trade on this market, with price hitting that long-term target that I mentioned last week in the review, for all these people holding a sell trade from the 66.94 test back here. However, unfortunately, the 65 zone low area, that bullish evidence area, didn't hold, and instead price broke below and closed below this area. And so now that price has done this, holding a potential pullback area, which is the 65 zone area, as an area on this market where I'm just looking for bearish evidence and a potential move to the downside from this important area. Okay, well that's it for that market. Okay, the next pillar to cover is ADCAD, and I'm on the daily chart. At the moment, ADCAD is in a downtrend, and the area I'd like to highlight on this market this week is a potential pullback area in the trend, and that is the 92-94 zone area, which is this previous low area looking left back here. This is an area that if price action tests this area this week or in the near future, that this is an area on this market where I'm just looking for bearish evidence in this area. And if I see right bearish evidence in this area, like I go over in the Forex training on the website, then potentially looking for a move all the way down to the pullback low, or potentially even lower on this market in the trend. So overall on ADCAD, holding the 92-94 zone area as an area on this market in the trend where I'm interested for bearish evidence in this area and a potential with the downside from this important zone. Okay, well that's it for that market. The next pair I'd like to cover is GBCAD, and I'm on the 4-hour chart. Last week in price action, GBCAD tested the 166.36 zone area where the bulls took control in that area, pushing price strongly to the upside from this important zone. The 166.36 zone area is a potential bullish evidence area on this market, and if I zoom out, you can see this area acted as strong support, looking left back here, back here, back here, and back here in the past, looking left. And on that recent test, the bulls took control again, giving another strong move to the upside from this important zone. What I'd like to hold on this market this week is the 171 zone area as a potential long-term target area to the upside for all those people who are holding a buy trade on this market from the recent test of the 166.36 zone area. And also on the 171 zone area as not only a potential target area to the upside, potential long-term target area to the upside for all those people who are holding a buy trade on this market. However, also want to highlight this area as an area on this market where I'm just looking for bearish evidence in this area. And if I see right bearish evidence in this area, then potentially looking for a move all the way down to this low area, looking left as a potential management point area to the downside, or potentially looking for a move all the way down, all the way back down to the 166.36 zone area to the downside. So overall on GBCAD, holding a long-term target area to the upside for all those people holding a buy trade from the recent test of the 166.36 zone area, and also holding the 171 zone area as an area to the upside where I'm just looking for bearish evidence in this area and a potential with the downside from this important zone. Okay, well that's it for that market. Okay, the next pair I'd like to cover in this week's review is New Zealand yen, and I'm on the daily chart. Last week in price action, early in the week, this market was testing the 74.94 zone area, which is a potential bearish evidence area on this market. And as you can see, last week, the bears took control, pushing price strongly to the downside from this important zone. So overall, the 74.94 zone area was a great performing zone last week for all those people that took a sell trade in this important area. What I'd like to highlight on this market this week is a potential target area to the downside and also a potential bullish evidence area to the downside. And that is the 72.47 zone area. This is a potential target area to the downside for all those people who are holding a sell trade on this market, potential long-term target area to the downside. And it's also an area to the downside where I'm just looking for bullish evidence in this area. And if I see right bullish evidence in this area, then potentially looking for a move all the way up, all the way back up to the 74.94 zone area to the upside. Overall on New Zealand yen, holding the 72.47 zone area as a potential long-term target area to the downside for all those people who are holding a sell trade on this market from the recent test of the 74.94 zone area. And also holding the 72.47 zone area as an area on this market where I'm just looking for bullish evidence in this area and a potential with the upside from this important zone. And of course, depending on the evidence and how it forms in this important area. And if we look left at the 72.47 zone area, you can see this area acted as really strong support on the previous test and gave a really nice move to the upside. So a nice performing zone on the previous test for all those people that took a buy trade in this area. and it acted as really strong support on the previous test back here as well. Okay, next pellet to cover is US dollar yen, and I'm on the 4-hour chart. Last week in price action, US dollar yen tested the 114.31 zone area, which is a potential bearish reference area on this market. And as you can see, when price action came into the zone, the bears took control, pushing price to the downside, pushing price all the way down to that management point low area, looking left. I'm expecting price will continue to the downside, potentially all the way down long term to the 112.82 zone area to the downside. So for all those people that are holding a sell trade on this market from the recent test of the 114.31 zone area, what I'd like to highlight is the 112.82 zone area as a potential long-term target area to the downside. But I'd also like to highlight that the 112.82 zone area is not only a potential long-term target area to the downside for all those people holding a sell trade on this market, but it's also an area to the downside where I'm just looking for bullish evidence in this area. And if I see a right bullish evidence in this area, then potentially looking for a move all the way up to this previous low, looking left as a potential management point area to the upside, or potentially move all the way up, all the way back up to the 114.31 zone area to the upside. So overall on US dollar yen, holding the 112.82 zone area as a potential target area to the downside for all those people holding a sell trade on this market from the recent test of the 114.31 zone area, and also holding the 112.82 zone area as an area on this market where I'm just looking for bullish evidence in this area and a potential with the upside from this important zone. Potentially move all the way back up long term to the 114.31 zone area to the upside. Okay, well that's it for that market, and that's it for me for this week's edition of the review. Thanks for watching. If you appreciated this video today, please do not forget to click that like button like I mentioned in the beginning of the video. Every like is appreciated, and it's a great way of showing you support for the website and channel. If you have a comment below this video. Also, if you haven't checked out the Forex training on the website, such as the Engulfing Trader, the 5-day training series, or the counseling training series just yet, where you can find out all about this Forex training by clicking on the links below this video. Okay, well I hope you all have a great trading week and happy trading.